I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to a very special late edition of the Friday yet to be named show episode, and I'm so sorry we have been completely put through it. I'll tell you, it's been the last couple busy days, and I had laid down to take a little snooze at about 7:30 tonight, and my alarm did not go off. I just woke from my slumber and was rested and just laying there thinking, man, it looks awfully dark in here. Surely it's only been like 20 minutes, and I looked down at the clock, and it was like 8:55, and I thought, oh my God. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are generally... I wasn't supposed to be here today. We need to put... That's what I should have done. I should have done the clerks. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. Hey, sorry for being late. Better late than never. That's what someone says. I don't know. So we're here, and everything's been kind of discombobulated. As we were coming on, Kate calls me, and she's like, I just rebooted my computer. It's completely shut down. It's all... So then she even actually got in here before I did. So welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you we're going to give you some good material. If you would, please consider hitting the like, feeding the algorithms. That would be fantastic. Share the show, communicate with us, do all of the things that you should do on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. That would be fantastic. We would very, very, very much appreciate it. All right. So as promised, tonight's show is going to be basically about MUNCIE, Delaware County happenings, things that we have missed in really the last couple of weeks, with a main focus on the MUNCIE Redevelopment Commission meeting from yesterday. I've had a lot of people asking me, when are you going to go over the MUNCIE Redevelopment Commission meeting? When are you going to go over the MUNCIE Redevelopment Commission meeting? And listen, we are in the crazy part of the politics, and it is what it is. And I hate when that happens, but I love when that happens. It's all so great because we've got so much going on, and things just inevitably get, something has to not happen so other things can, and I hate that, but it is what it is. We only have so many hours in the day, so many hands, so many eyes, so many mouths, and so many words and minutes and hours, and so there's just so much that we can do. So there have been a couple big things that have occurred locally, I would say, in the last couple of days and weeks. And let's see here. I'm just taking a look down here at my list of things in order to get rolling here, and someone else just sent me something else that is just absolutely insane. So as we get started here, folks, I would ask that you please consider sharing this discombobulation. I promise it will be worth something here in just a moment. I am just trying to send this out to the last couple of places that we need to send out in order to get started. And I do want to apologize for running on Bilbrey time this evening, Bilbrey Unstandard time. Someone else asked me today about that, and I was like, yeah, we've been doing pretty good lately, but every now and then I need to shake it up and keep you guys on your toes. If we started right at 9 o'clock or, a second after all the time, you guys would get used to it. And so I got to keep you guys guessing. Okay. One more little post here and we will be ready to roll. All right. I do want to start out the show tonight by kind of focusing on what we ended last night's show with, because it's very important. But before we do that, on this very special Friday night show, I do want to say that there are 18 days until this election is here. Man. I mean, that means by the time that we're here Sunday, by the time of the start of next week, we'll be 15 days away. That's 3 weeks, man. It is upon us. And so, please remind people to get out and vote, whatever their politics are. Tell them to go vote, go stand in line, early vote. Remind people to get out those mail-in ballots if they've done that. Or remind people that the election day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, 18 days, and counting, away. And, it's definitely a big thing that we all need to, take part in, this year. It's going to be a big thing. So, while we're talking about politics, and we've been focusing on this big shakeup in state government, going on with this whole big Rainwater for governor and the Indiana State Republican Party and all of that. I do want to give a great big shout out to Donald Rainwater, who did an amazing job today on the Hammer and Nigel Show at 3 p.m. on WIBC, talking to Ethan Hatcher, who was filling in for Hammer and then Nigel, of course, was there, and he, he went on there and he answered the same thing. Just briefly, I want to say today, Rob dropped the other shoe fell. Dong! And then we found out just all of the horrible stuff that Don has done in his life 25 years ago. 20 years ago. Divorce finalized in 94. Contempt of court in 1996. Now, I do want to tell everybody that contempt of court sounds like a horrible thing. Listen, coming from my side of the criminal justice aspect, I just need to say briefly that, when you're testifying in a criminal court and you've got defendants and you've got, police officers and witnesses and prosecutors, when you're found in contempt of court in those type of hearings, you spend time in jail. That's kind of a big deal. It's not a criminal charge. It's something the judge just does. It's, it's kind of a crappy thing, but it's, it's the judge's courtroom. They've got the power during that time. Contempt of court for a civil, specifically family court style hearing is a little bit different. Yes, if you are like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 behind, if you are $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 behind, if you're $1,000 behind, and there are extenuating circumstances, the judge could put you in jail for that. But in family court, I want folks to understand that even being $5 or $10 behind, if you're to pay $100 a week, $200 every 2 weeks, that's the same thing. $400 a week. If you're to pay, say you got hundreds of kids, whatever, you're to pay $5,000 a month or whatever the crazy thing that's set up. Whatever you're to pay, when you fall even dollars behind, if you go in front of a judge during that time period, they will file a motion for contempt of court, put it on the record, and say, go out, get caught up, do what you're doing. We'll come back in 6 months and reevaluate this and take this off your record. Or we'll come back in the next court date, whenever. You don't go to jail. It's not the end of the world. It's just something that happens, and you can be paying and everything can be hunky-dory, and you could just be $100. It's just the whim of a judge or whatever, and it's just to make sure people do what they're supposed to do. So it's really not the end of the world, and there have been lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people that have done that. Okay. Can you put any of those in the overlay? Like the couple of the best ones would be good, because I'm not going to spend much time on this. We're going to get to MUNCIE. I just want to talk about this because it's very important that people are aware of this. So, Kindle released that. That was 96. The next thing Kindle released was a car repossession. Oh no! A car repossession in 2000. Oh! Yes. Don went through a divorce, and as I've said, and I didn't need Don to tell me, sometimes when you go through a divorce, there are a lot of things that go on. There are fiscal ramifications, and there are familial ramifications, and there are mental ramifications, and there are, just lots of ramifications. And sometimes that doesn't wrap up in a summer, a winter, a weekend, a day, a month, a year. Sometimes it doesn't wrap up in a decade. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes there are stumbles. A car repossession. We have people that are running for office that are going to win and handily win, that are felons on the national level. We have people in local Republican government and Democratic government on both sides of the aisle that have done far, far worse, and have, this is honestly for something to be considered an October surprise, a major, oh my God, this is a horrible travesty, this shocking circumstances that's come forward. This is pretty meek and mild for that. All right. A car repossession. Between 2000 and 2008, small claims court appearances for Mr. Rainwater are supposed to make us think that he's just a complete deviant, deadbeat loser. And I'm not going to buy it. He was stumbling. From 1994 to 2000 is 6 years. More importantly, from 2000 to 2024 is 24 years. And from 2000 to 2024, Don has righted the ship. His credit score is the credit reports, everything is good. He's since all of this bought a home, sold a home, bought another home, has a steady career, an IT guy making good money, married happily, everything's good, his family's good. Everything's good there. So, yeah, did he go to small claims court a couple of times in 2000? In May of 2024, he was behind in child support, $5,480. Oh, no! Capped off with a bankruptcy that he filed that we talked about last night, which it's not news. We talked about it. We talked about it last night. We talked about it for today. Bankruptcy in 2009. And after that, he then started righting the ship, and, we get a couple of years out from 2009, 2011, 2015. Things are going good, going smooth. He's correcting the ship. Listen, Don has always said he has made mistakes, and that, he's forgot more about his mistakes than anyone could ever dredge up. And, he's learned from the mistakes. The number one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to say, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this. I'm going to show you these overlays, and then we're going to move on to MUNCIE, because I know I got a lot of people that are concerned about what's going on there, and we've got a lot to talk about there. But this is real life important stuff, folks. It's very, very important. Sorry, my younger brother's in the hospital. Kid's like 24 years old, and just today he became a Bilbrey. He had his first kidney stone today. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the club. Congratulations, son. So he's in the hospital. He just sent me a picture of his setup. He's got this great big ass computer screen or something. It looks like it's hanging over his bed. So he's watching sports, which I'm sure he's hating that. I couldn't imagine how horrible it would be to be on morphine and laying in bed watching something that I loved. That would be horrible. Well, have fun, Jake. Pass that kidney stone and let us know what you name it. So prayers go out to him. Anyways, getting back to Rainwater there. The most important thing to me is, it's really sad the fact that this low blow political BS has had to hurt people that have moved all past this and are not running for governor. And there have been people who have been affected in this that, you know, are out living a life and doing things and trying to, you know, it's not like I'm saying, hey, I did something last year, let's put the past behind me. This was 15, 20, 25 years ago, folks. Like, the past is not, let's put the past behind us. It is behind us. And to purposefully dredge this up is complete crap. Oh, as a close people to me just sent me, Dan the mayor filed bankruptcy. Whoa, Don Trump.
And wasn't his in like 2016 or 2018?
No,
the mayor, or was his 2008?
It's been
a while because we knew this.
2009 too.
Yeah, no, it was.
I think it was 2009.
Oh, with the recession and the housing collapse and
yeah. You know, the only thing I could think of worse than going through that 2008 and 9 housing collapse and the recession, the only thing worse than that would be doing it at the end of a tumultuous period coming off of a divorce.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy.
And trying to get caught up on back child support. Wow.
Yeah.
You know that 2008 and 2009 were the highest recorded, you know, numbers for bankruptcies?
I can't even imagine why that would be. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there were record numbers of bankruptcies those 2 years because of the housing market and the recession. It was bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like my pronouns. Thanks for noticing. I put those up especially for Micah.
That was the Micah's pronouns. Yes.
Yes.
Our secretary, Kate.
Yes.
She's a secretary.
Yeah.
She's been relegated to the secretary position. She's no longer a producer. We've taken that title away from her. We're waiting to give it to somebody more
proficient.
More yes, more proficient.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Banish you to the secretarial quarters. I love it. Oh God. Okay. Real quick, just to wrap up with this. I guess you know, the horrible flip side to this low blow attack is it's given voters a chance to see that Rainwater really is an everyday common Hoosier with you know, stumbles and falls and successes and losses and you know, like many out there, he's had a messy divorce, a loss of a job, a loss of a couple jobs, financial troubles that ended with a bankruptcy. This incredibly, wildly disgusting, tone-deaf attack ad has done one thing that I think is a positive lining. It has given Hoosiers the ability to see that this man can be standing in an absolute shitstorm with rubble all around him, losses and disasters, and piece by piece, day by day, one bite at a time, he can eat the elephant and he can make progress. You know, Kendall today talked about this yardstick that he has in his house that says it's a cinch by the inch, but it's hard by the it's a cinch by the inch, but it's hard by the yard. And he was talking about how a neighbor of his gave him this, and you know, it's really neat saying, and he loves this. Is one of the coolest things that he has because there's this backstory behind it and everything. But, the meaning obviously is, basically one bite at a time, you can take down problems. And that's what Rainwater did, From 2009 into 2011, into 2014, into 2016, into 18, into 2021, through COVID, through all of this recession and everything, he's kept his head above water, and he's still plugging along, and he's turned it around. That Rainwater has the ability to learn from his mistakes, from his failures. And he's learned what it takes to be a proud American, but not too proud, someone that understands where he comes from, but more importantly, understands where he's going. A man who is loved by his family, who is happily married, who is financially stable. And while he may not have the experience of having been elected to office, neither is anyone else before they are. But the number one thing he does have experience in is turning a sinking ship around. And Indiana, for a lot of us right now, is a sinking ship. It has been. Yeah. We've got a massive rainy day surplus in Indiana. And there are things here and there, but, the Department of Child and Family Services, yearly talk about all this money they've lost, and Medicaid, all this stuff going on, all this loss in Indiana, and the property taxes are horrible and they need to be readjusted and all this. What a perfect time for an individual to step in and say, listen, let's work together to turn this shit around. So in 25 years from now, we can be in a better place than we were in 2024. And that's why you should consider allowing Rainwater to earn your vote. Not voting for him as a protest vote, not voting for him because you're mad at McCormick, or voting for Braun because you're mad at Rainwater, or voting for McCormick because you hate Braun, but letting Rainwater earn your vote. You know what? If he gets in and listen, no one person should be able to foul it up in any great period if we as Hoosier voters are really paying attention. Go do what you got to do, and let's move on to MUNCIE. All right. So, before we do that, I do want to show you these overlays. So, just briefly, are these in like an order? Did you get rid of that Ethan post? Okay. So this is Ethan Hatcher. He's who interviewed. I want
to put up the one below that first.
This one first? Yeah. This one?
No, the Rob
Kendall's.
Yeah, there you go. Start with that. Yes.
Okay. So this is what Rob put up earlier. He put this up before his show. Rob Kendall said, gonna have a conversation about old Dodge and Don today, since Dodge and Don won't come clean with the voters and instead tried to vilify me. He didn't try to vilify. You know what I saw? I saw sitting across from me on Wednesday night a man who was hurt by a friend. That's what I saw. I didn't see a politician in the moment. I just saw a man that was hurt by a friend. And not, it didn't start with this deal. It started with the lazy idiot comment moments after he walked out of a face-to-face interview. I think that started to hurt. Now, Don didn't tell me that, and I'm just putting my own thoughts into it. But, I don't think Don was like attacking to vilify Rob. He was just saying like, man, it shocks me. It doesn't shock me that it's not like you're trying to hold me accountable on my policy points or whatever. And it's like, damn, if this stuff happened last year and it was a concern that I can't lead. Rob even said today, he could have went to the Dave Ramsey course in 2009 and turned everything around. And if so, then good. But I just want him to come out and talk about this. No, we want to see people wallow in the self-destruction. And we want to be like, look what's happening there. Specifically, if we have a dog in the race, and Rob absolutely has a dog in the race. So Rob puts up, dodging Don Rainwater, who for years couldn't sprint to my program fast enough when he wanted to promote his campaigns, now has gone MIA. He didn't go MIA. He talked to me. He went on Hammer and Nigel Show. He just didn't want to go on a program where he thought he was a friend, not to answer hard questions, but someone who literally had sat across from him for an hour. And then as soon as he turned to leave the studio, while he's still in the building riding the elevator down, calls him a lazy idiot. He probably, I'm just assuming that would piss me off. Since I wanted basic answers about what appears to be over a decade plus of financial management, what he doesn't put in here is over a decade plus of over a decade old financial mismanagement. What's happened in this last decade? Why are we not talking about that? All right. So dodging Don. Well, here is the host that interviewed him with Hammer and Nigel is the afternoon 93.1 radio guys. Hammer was out today, and Ethan Hatcher, a wonderful voice on the radio, was filling in for him, and he was in the studio. And he says he didn't seem to dodge Nigel or I this afternoon. Owned up to his mistakes, acknowledged that it was a struggle over a period of years and multiple jobs that were lost. At the end of the day, there's still only one candidate who voted for the largest state tax increase. And that, my friends, was Mike Braun. Okay, so that's very important. All right, now here we see this shilling for Braun. Keep shilling for Braun, and more of the same old. Can't let a third party actually establish itself and break up the system. The attacks ramping up on Don way more than 4 years ago tells me Braun isn't happy about something. Yet you have no problem with Todd Rokita, P-Chick says. Brad Sawinski, one of the voices of the Mouthwash crew, says you're focusing on an incident that happened 30 years ago. And the candidate released a very reasonable response where he showed humility and called out the lack of integrity with the Beckwith Braun campaign. How many free passes do you give Micah when he's on your show? That's a pretty good question. It's a pretty good question. Then we got this. Weird you've never talked about Beckwith's wage garnishments. Funny, you don't talk about Braun's reported problems with businesses and hiring practices. Pretty obvious what has happened here. Sad to see Rob totally sell out the guy he championed 4 years ago. But when your pastor tells you to do something, you obey. And I just want to say, be careful of deceivers. They are out there. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful. So, all right. I've said my piece. We're putting that to bed. Unless and until something else happens, I'm not talking about this trash anymore. It's smut, and it's where it deserves to be. And I think Don has answered the questions, and that is that. All right. So from there, ladies and gentlemen, there was a MUNCIE Redevelopment Commission meeting that occurred yesterday, Thursday, and trying to find their, oh my God. MUNCIE Redevelopment Commission meeting yesterday, and it was a pretty short meeting in the standards of what redevelopment commission meetings normally are. Redevelopment commission meetings generally go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes longer than that. And so I've had a lot of people message me, and I will tell you, I started to watch this earlier, and I thought, no, you know what? It's always interesting when I don't watch it, and I take it in with you guys for the first time viewing. And so that, my friends, is what we're going to do today. We're going to take this in as a first time viewing and see.
Give us that update.
See kind of what we've got going on here. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a full 5-member MRC board. So straight off the bat, this is the Redevelopment Commission meeting from October 17th, 2024. All 5 board members are there. And let's proceed and see what goes on here.
At some point, it is not listed. If you'd like us to add it, we can certainly do that officially either way.
I just didn't see it on here.
Yeah, I think he intends to present on that today.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns about the agenda?
I'd move acceptance of the agenda as presented.
Okay, have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yep.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, move on with the approval of previous meeting memoranda. Do we have any questions or a motion to approve?
I read the minutes compared to the video. We continue to miss stating topics discussed and formative discussions, chronicling those. So, I'll continue to bring this up until minutes are sufficient, but I won't be in favor of approving.
Okay, Ms. Wagley, did you have something?
Yes, motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Okay. We will move forward with the claims from Mr. Wright. Good morning, Craig.
Morning. Sent out the claims yesterday afternoon. Really wasn't that many of them, but I wanted to only point out that one of the claims that was a significant dollar amount was the $1 million for the
Mr. Usual.
TWG Kilgore place that we sent out. And with that, I'll just open it up to any questions.
I did notice the MRC annual pledge installment 1 for the Muncie Land Bank went out as well.
Yeah.
Is he
Correct?
growing a
Okay.
beard?
Thank you.
Hey, Jordy!
I understand we closed on the
Hello!
Y property back on July 11th. We're continuing. What's the arrangement? Are we continuing to pay utilities?
Pause
Because we-
this and let's just have a little buddy chat here. Hey, Jordy, how you doing? What are you doing, buddy? How's things going? Sorry, folks, we're just pausing the show to talk to someone I'm not talking to in a moment. How you doing? Where you at? Are you throwing a few back someplace, having a wild Friday? Or are you just sitting at home with the wife? What's going on? Watch us. We got some serious stuff for you to be seeing. And hey, oh no, you're not going to be in the new annexed area. I thought you're pretty close to the new annexed area. Yeah, I miss you too, buddy. I'll get a hold of you. We'll give you a call. We'll have to get together.
Of utilities
Don't forget
that are invoiced
to vote
in September for that property.
A
I'm just
couple of
wondering,
Michelobes adopted a new
the
puppy.
developer
Ah,
that the
send me a
owner now
picture.
going to be paying utilities, or are we still going to be paying utilities?
Ha,
Because we're
ha.
paying utilities that are a couple months in the.
Tell that dickhead I'm still mad at him for not giving me the goods, and he knows what I'm talking about. Tell him I said
in
hi.
arrears, but since they've purchased the property.
Moving forward, just get a date, and we'll get a date for you as far as when the cutoff is. But I think it's the new billings on it. I do not believe they're going to be on there.
So we probably won't see this next month.
No.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
That's good.
Just-
Go ahead, Dave.
I was just curious about the paving that was paid from the MRC bonds.
What now?
The paving.
Oh, okay.
The witch
Where
now.
it was
The what?
at?
Where? What? Who? How? What? Why?
You're talking about the 33.
That was out of 758.
Yes, correct. 758.
The PP, I looked that invoice up and I didn't have an actual address on that. But I could follow up and see exactly where it was as far as the location.
This dude
I
is
assume those
the
are both
controller.
the PPU surfacing, paving, and the Highland Avenue from Granville to Elm are the same thing. But I had the same question of just what that was for. And
Well, the IMI, they did what they found when they took the road up was railroad ties underneath that they had to remove before resurfacing that. So that was part of the billing on that.
I've had the same questions. I'm just trying to. It looks like it's a part of White River Loss, but it's not. That's just the line above it.
Yeah.
Am I correct about that?
Yeah, they're two different. You've got the EMB and the IMI.
I guess mostly I wasn't aware that paving was a redevelopment project or an eligible expense. But
I'll follow up on
Okay,
it.
thank you.
You know what?
We,
This so
didn't we-
frustrating to me. What I would love to see is I'd love to see these group of mindless knobs say without, and I'm not mentioning that. I'm not saying that about Andrew Dale and or to the kid. I always forget his name. I'm going to tell you. Zane. Yeah, Zane Bishop. The thing is, what really frustrates me about this is the fact that they're sitting here and he's like, well, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Okay, why don't we recess the meeting for 5 minutes and you run upstairs to your office and find out what the hell it is and come back down here and tell us. Tell us. And then we'll start the meeting back. Because it's that important. But instead he's like, oh, I'll let you know. And meanwhile, the public never know. And for us to know, we have to send a record request in. Now, pause right here for 1 second, because we are, and I've never, ever done this before like this, because it's kind of sloppy and haphazard. We are going to pause this and step right into the MUNCIE Board of Works meeting for 1 second, because it fits with this. And I want you to hear something. And there is a method to the madness. Give me 1 second. And I will absolutely explain to you, and you will understand this. And please understand, the reason that we are doing this is because what you just heard there when he says, oh, well, I will, check into this and get back with you. Well, we, the public, never know what that is. The only way that we ever get to find out what it is if we go through the process of filing a records request and dragging our feet and waiting to get answers. And we finally get an answer 6 months later about something that happened at this meeting. Meanwhile, we have elected and appointed officials that feel like this about that process.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sent out the claims yesterday afternoon, and really a short list of claims this week. We had a couple pavings that were $22,000 and $16,000, and besides that, our healthcare claim to UMR, and rest of it were utilities and very small claims. So with that, I will open it up to any questions you might have.
Linda, you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I have a comment.
Mhm.
On page 4, under other services and charges, we have a claim from Beasley Gilkinson, who's the city attorney.
Mhm.
And that claim is for reviewing public record requests. I'm all in favor of citizens asking questions about expenditures and procedures.
Mhm.
And making that information public. I think that's part of our system. But I do want to make the public aware that when that's done, there's a monetary cost, in this case, over $1,700.
Correct.
And just to be aware.
Hey, you know what? Let me tell you where and what you can do with your statement, Linda. Take that statement and I was going to say you could write it out and say it, speak it into some kind of recording, and then you could stick one of these little SD cards in your computer, get that recording off. You could pull it out and stick it up your ass. Because no, filing a record request does not produce a cost that just immediately goes to the attorneys and that we just are, oh God, we're paying. Look, Bilbrey's cussing. I pay for those at 10 cents a copy. 10 cents a copy. All right? And I'm mad about that.
You know what? Even if it does cost $1,700 a year to do records requests, you know what that breaks down to for the citizens of Muncie?
Yeah, right.
They're spending a whopping 2.6 cents a head per citizen.
Yeah.
To do the records requests.
Right.
So you know what? I'll bring you my 3 pennies and you can shove them up your ass.
Yes. Here's the thing. I don't like that because, first of all, that's very disingenuous because every record request does not cost that. That is only the record requests that the mayor or whoever is doing the request is afraid about. I don't know. We want to figure out a way to say no to this. So they then contact the attorney. When we file, let me tell you what happens when I file a records request. When I file a records request, I file it. I filed one just at the end of last week. And you know what happened? I got a thing saying we're working on that. And then today, Amber Green messaged me and said, your request. That was the title, and I clicked on it, and it said, good morning, Mr. Bilbrey. Please, oops. No, that was her message from yesterday. Good morning, Mr. Bilbrey. This request is completed and ready to be picked up in the mayor's office. There are 7 pages for a total of 70 cents. Thank you very much. That request did not go before Beasley Gilkinson. She got the request. She saw what I wanted. She completed the request. And you know what? She did it in a 4-day period. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Then she sent me back a response that said, good afternoon. My apologies. There are actually 19 pages to your request, which brings your total to $1.90. Again, even with that clarification, nothing went before the attorneys. The only thing that goes before the attorneys are the stuff that Dan doesn't want to give, or really, sometimes I send stuff in that legitimately have to go and they have to look to see, and I get it. But that is on Dan and his legal services. Really, he should have someone trained in-house on what's good and not good, and they should work with the attorney to really cut down on that cost. And I believe, and I know a lot of people have a lot of reasons not to like various things about Amber, but I believe that she is in time going to streamline the record request process, and I think it will get, and it will be easier. All right. Some things take time, and I get it. My things take time. It is what it is. But she has been, on the whole, faster than anyone so far under the Ridenhour administration. So, you know, that's a plus. But I just got to say, no, Linda wasn't objecting. She can't, because the attorneys have to. Linda was like, I want the citizens to know. Linda would be fine if she could say the citizens get no information. She's fine with that. All right. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just, that's so frustrating. And that she said that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, she is the mouthpiece for Dan. Dan appointed her, and there is your approved transparency, improved accountability. There you go. There it is. There it is. That is what we got through Mayor Dan Ridenhour. And it's unacceptable. That kind of thought is unacceptable. Moreover, Dan gets a massive amount of money in edit. If there's any kind of extra charges to be hitting the city for because of public record request, Dan can pick up my tab, and he said it would be okay because he wants to be transparent. Moreover, the attorneys get a nice chunk of money for the work they do. So go cry me a river, but do it someplace where I don't have to hear you or see you. Because we see right here, Dan wanted to improve communication, improve transparency, and improve accountability, slow government down, improve relationship between the city and county, put the best people in place. And we can see that he has failed on all 6 of those. So, all right, without further ado, back to the redevelopment commission, and we really went a long way around. But that's the reason I say stop this meeting and have this idiot go up there and find this out instead of saying that, because now I got to send a record request in and make the attorneys pay to see if I can get it.
Approved that last year. I mean, the paving is accepted, but these paving projects were approved for the funds to revert to the city engineer.
Don't recall.
That was like November, September, something like that last year. Remember
Dale
doing
up.
that.
So
I think
she
the
should
ultimate
just shut.
question
I
is-
mean,
It must be associated with an MRC project. And what project is it associated with? And I do think an eligible expense can be repairs to infrastructure. I know it can be. So just, I'd love just to understand that too. I had a highlight, but
Okay.
it was asked before I could ask. So
Yeah, okay.
Will do.
Just look into that, Craig, for us next
Yep.
month. That'd be great. I didn't have any other questions. Do we have any other questions regarding the claims today? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
so moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Dale,
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pabilla,
Yes.
Miss Wagley,
Yes.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
what is
you.
happening? Okay.
Mr. Howe, go ahead with your report from the city.
Okay. We'll go through the
Yes, Tweety Bird.
financials.
Hell
See
yes.
the TIF bond amounts up here at the top. Then we have the focus funds. We still have the 322 at South Madison. The White River Lofts Phase 2 money is targeted.
I just
would
want
also
to say
be,
something that I don't
supported.
something that I don't say very frequently, but I do say from time to time. But I definitely want to give you credit where credit is due. 10 million billion 1,000%. I agree with you, Tweety Bird. They should have to provide follow-up answers during public meeting. You don't want to do it today. I don't think it's acceptable. You're in the building, recess the meeting, go research it, come down. More importantly, don't come to the meeting unprepared. If it's on the claims, know what the hell they're going to ask you. Yeah, I understand something can happen. All right, pause it, go research it, and come back. We'll wait. You know. But no. They're in a hurry trying to get things through because they've got other lives they got to get back to. It's not about doing the business the best way possible. It's not about slowing government down. It's about ramming it, jamming it through under the Dan Ridenhour way.
With Ready to, if successful. The Till Pond and then the parks. The
Kate.
parks expenditures are attached to this. So total focus funds are $2.6 million. Total cash for the MRC for non-focus funds, we have $348,000 plus other accounts of
I thought of the only
181,600.
thing I could.
And
My
then,
childhood.
if we look at the bottom, we have prospective revenue of the store lots. I think the last document was signed for that closing. And then
Is that the Stay Puft Marshmallow
well, the
Man, Ray?
Sportsplex money that will come in when that closes. And then we'll have Store Estates Park money coming out.
What?
Does that come out yet, Craig? Store Estates? Well, if it is, it's a timing difference, but that to be paid. The village, which I believe well, I guess you wouldn't know now, would you? Seems like we were invoiced for the village project as well. That may be timing, but the mayor mentioned to me that he thought we had been invoiced because they've been doing some infrastructure there.
Yeah, I think we have, Jeff.
Yep. So we're estimated consolidated TIF funds at the end of the year of almost $2.2
Something to do with
million.
the park. Upkeep at the park or something.
So on other updates, let me get my notes here.
Let's go take a look at DR Horton, see if they
Brief updates on a few projects here. The Store Park, the Store Estates Park opened. We had a ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago. Thank you for Mr.
No way. No way. No way. No way. This dude literally just said the Store Park Estates. That's a joke.
Mr. Probella for being there. We had a number of the city council members there as well. We had Newslink Indiana was there and covered it. We had lots of neighbors, lots of kids. It was a big success. A little brisk. Got warm after it was over, and then but it was nicely put on. So the skate park at Westside Park is under construction. I don't have a timeline on that, but probably no more updates until construction gets done. I mean,
that's the comment of the show, Tweety Bird.
Spoonful of dirt that gets moved. The Point, the project bids are opened. The contract was awarded, and we will hopefully see some more activity there before the end of the year. But probably a lot of that's going to happen.
Can you expand on that a little? Who opened the bids again? Was it? It did end up going to Board of Works, correct?
It did.
Okay.
It did. I was just screwed up on the timing.
No, that's
It went to the Board of Works.
We talked about
Yep. And it was awarded to Flatland.
Okay.
So that they're working through. There's what happens is you put the project out for bid, you get the bids, you open it, and if the bids deviate from what was kind of allocated for it, then you got to work on how do you get it to fit. And that means, some things get trimmed back, or you find other sources of funding.
What are we putting out to bids? Isn't DR Horton building the homes? I guess we're going to have to watch that Board of Works meeting whenever that is to find out. We'll have to figure out which one we missed, because we missed a couple, to figure out what exactly they're talking about there. Because I mean, what are we bidding? What are we bidding? I thought DR Horton is doing the work there.
Or in the case of, I'm guessing many of them, I don't know, but many of them, probably some combination of the two. I have talked to, I have not ordered the appraisals on the YWCA because I had the option to trim back, or you find other sources of funding, or in the case of, I'm guessing many of them, I don't know, but many of them, probably some combination of the two. I have talked to, I have not ordered the appraisals on the YWCA because I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of developers that I had been talking to about some other projects and showed them the property. I've shown the property to 4 different, or accompanied them to see the property to 4 different builders, developers. I think we may have interest from 2 of them. So if they're interested and they can meet terms, then I see no reason for us to spend the money on the appraisal. So hopefully we'll see if that comes together without us. I think the big thing, the one I think expressed some interest, but the big thing is the timing, which is I think the reason we were asked to consider the project anyway, was the timing of how do you get from here to here, and continue to provide services if a developer wants the property right away. So we'll see how that works out.
I really appreciate that approach. I advocated strongly for that. I mean, I believe in the private sector and government not jumping in line when it's not necessary. And
well,
I'm really grateful that you took that tact on that.
The necessity really we did that with others. We were showing people the property on Walnut Street the same way. It's just how do you figure out, try to set yourself up to have a couple different paths so you can, if you have to pick one, like say, if it won't be up to us, but if there's an offer and the offer says we need possession right away, they'll either have to pass on it or something. So that, I mean, that's really why we put that path in front of us and then try to find another way to do it as well. So on new opportunities, a lot of these things are pretty confidential at this point, but just some real highlights on our high level downtown hotel. Still looking at and talking to a couple folks about downtown hotel. One has specifically said, the other hasn't mentioned one way or the other, but one specifically said they were looking at boutique, and Jim and I just conferred on that. It probably makes a lot of sense. And the feasibility study was ordered. We don't have it yet. I think when we talked last time, I said it might be November, but I was hopeful. Well, I provided, there's a lot of data that you have to provide them, which I had done, but then part of that data is, I can't remember, 15 or 20 names of people to interview. People from maybe the chamber or the convention center and the visitors bureau and other folks, and larger employers and things like that. And I think it's kind of to assess demand, maybe. Those are going to be conducted at the end of next week, first of the following week. So I think it'll be coming soon after those take place. Housing, I've had some meetings with a couple of developers regarding senior and affordable and workforce housing. Some of that obviously would be maybe surrounded the Y property, the YW property. And there are a couple other opportunities to consider looking at some partnerships to help get some projects viable. Some of these would be tax credit deals, which obviously means that we have to make a contribution. And so we're working through that. And those would be, again, workforce, senior, and affordable. And then there's been some discussion also about market rate apartments. And that's a part of other developments that we've been talking about. Again, some of these things are ready to dependent. Some of them are ready to, for lack of a better word, supported. In other words, they'll probably happen anyway, but the timeline that they would happen would be a lot longer. And those couple projects, you're looking at probably somewhere around $70 million of investment to get those things done. So again, the big thing is waiting to hear what happens with Ready 2, what funds we have to employ to help get these things to happen. And finally, I've been working through a couple of more complicated projects that were that kind of stretched back a few years, past administration kind of stuff we're kind of working through. You'll probably hear more about that later, just working through some math on some of those things. So we'll revisit those or visit those later. And then we're in the early stages of having a discussion about some creative programs that might help inspire, encourage, incent some development in some of MUNCIE's more challenging neighborhoods. I'm sitting on that steering committee for that DM Together, Delaware MUNCIE Together plan. And I'm trying to figure out if we do something, what are the designated areas? What's the benchmark? Is it what an appraiser would mark as a declining neighborhood if you did an appraisal? Is it areas that have been identified through the DM Together plan? So figuring out how that would be designated objectively, and then what we could do to maybe help spur some development there. And I have had conversation yesterday with a guy that's looking at maybe bringing a couple of businesses here. He's got a tech business that would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 employees, office space kind of stuff, and then another small manufacturing operation that would probably, I think we've talked maybe total of about 70-ish or so people. Very early, confidential at this point, but he's working through that. But he is talking to another community, I'd say fairly similar in size. So we'll see how that goes. And then for other business, other business, I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. We have the Store Estates Park. I'm not sure exactly what we call it, but the Store Estates Park. And I would like for us to deed that to the Muncie Parks Department. There's no reason for it to be as our name. They're going to maintain it. It'll be their responsibility. I'd like for them, I'd like to officially did that. Zane and I had kind of an exchange on that. We did the same thing with the South Madison property a couple of years ago. That's who's going to use it. That's where it's going to be, how it's going to be used. Let's just get it in their hands and not having it sit in our inventory. The other property is at 901 Riggin Road and be West Riggin Road, I guess.
Jeff, just for clarity's sake, so you're now moving on to properties to be transferred, correct? These are all
Yes,
transfers.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
I know we have applications too, so I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep. I apologize. Okay. So animal care, animal control operates out of that space. Has for a number of years, will for the foreseeable future. I'd like to just transfer that property to the city of Muncie, let them take care of it. They take care of it now, but it'll be their responsibility, not ours. And then the same thing with a property sitting at the 2000 block of, and Beacon was a little confusing to me. So it took me a little bit to catch up with Zane on it, but the 2000 block of North Granville, there's a property there that is being used by Muncie Police Department for some training. And I'd like to transfer that to the city of Muncie as well. Again, there's no reason for us to have it or have any. Well, there was two out there. One was 2000 block and the other one was it 2000 even?
I believe it was 2000 even. Let me confirm.
Yeah.
Where I can
But I found two properties. I found one to start with, and it said 2000 block. Well, it was a vacant lot.
Granville.
Granville.
Yeah, it's 2000, 2002 North Granville.
Yeah.
The other one is 2000 block, so it
Yeah.
should be the only
Yep.
parcel under that name.
Yeah. So I'd like to get that transferred as well.
Kate,
I just don't see
Can you
any
get
reason for us to
Beacon to work?
retain
I'm not being able to get it to work. You try to see if you
and
can pull
we'll get
Beacon
it
up.
to. There was another one we talked about, and it was the South High, but we need to, in fact, we did hear yesterday that the Historic Society did get their grant for the recognition. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but so we need to hold on to that until that gets done, because I wouldn't want our agreement with them to somehow get disrupted by a transfer of the property.
So just for clarity's sake, sorry. So you're wanting us today to approve property transfers of Store Park to Muncie Parks, 901 West Riggin to the city of Muncie, not AC, city of Muncie, and then the 2000 block of Granville to MPD to the city of Muncie.
City of Muncie, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's what my question is about. The Store Park should then be to the city of Muncie. We need to do this uniformly. So either all three go to the city of Muncie, or they each go to the departments that will maintain them. Because there's no reason to do Store Park to the parks. That should be to the city of Muncie.
That's fine. I'm indifferent to where it goes. It needs to go to where it's being used. I talked to the mayor. Those are the things the mayor indicated.
Right.
But
I'm just saying we need to do them uniformly.
So generally, you're saying you want to do all three to the city of Muncie at once.
However
in
however those are normally done. If they're
It's the city corporate body that technically owns the parks. It's just internally designated as a park and then maintained by the Parks Department, but the actual owner would be listed as the city of Muncie.
Okay.
So all three to
All
the city of
Yep.
Muncie then. Okay.
That's fine.
That's
Go ahead, Mr. Jeff.
Can we just take these all as an omnibus together?
Want to?
Now, in the future, I'd love to see an exhibit because I think it helps. But I would move that all three be transferred to the city corporation.
I'll second that.
My only question, I know there's another group that's using another building or a space at 901 Reagan that I don't think was ever formalized. Jeff, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you could like see if something could be formalized or worked out with.
I've talked to the mayor. The mayor has met with someone who has responsibility for that organization, and he's working through that.
Okay. Yeah. As long as we're not like, this action doesn't like kick them out without any other option, then otherwise, then I appreciate this.
Yeah, the mayor's working through that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I did, and on that note, I did talk with Director Talby of the animal shelter, the animal shelter as well, who had some concerns on it. I think he's voiced to the mayor also. Please formalize this agreement so we can move forward. It doesn't need to be formalized. Okay, so there's a motion and a second, so it's on the floor. Is there any further discussion before we take a vote? None. Okay. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Dale.
Yes.
Mr. Miller. Yes. Mr. Pravilla.
What is happening?
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Jeff.
I did.
This is
We'll
weird.
move on to the property purchase.
Yeah, and
application.
actually, the folks are here, right? Yep, I thought that might be you. Okay, so
'Cause he's
we have
never
an application
life.
or a purchase for property. So I'm going to let the Baileys kind of talk you through
The
what they're wanting to do.
Baileys.
So I will get out of the way and let them come up.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Deborah Bailey.
Good
Hi.
morning.
It's my husband Dale,
Hey, Dale.
and we was wanting to purchase the property at 2800 South Franklin Street.
Okay.
Use of the property is to store some car trailers and
What?
Good morning. I think you guys heard some of my conversation before the meeting because I'm concerned with this. And this, I mean, this is something that you would have to decide going forward if you still want to continue this application. The zoning for this property that you're wanting to purchase is residential. So it appears to us or to me that what you're wanting to do on the property does not fall under residential, the residential zone. So
You have to.
you
talk
would
like
have
that
to
or
then
look
go
like that.
to the variance board and get a variance for this. Can't guarantee what they would do. Can't guarantee if they'd give it or not. So I just want you, as you move forward with this, I just want you to be
It's almost
aware
unwatchable.
that if you purchase the property, you may not get the zoning. I don't know if you would or not, but if you might be purchasing the property and then not get the zoning to do what you want. But as we were
Dude.
discussing before the meeting,
It's like Cthulhu.
the zoning people won't hear your application for a variance
Yes.
unless you own the property. So kind of in a catch-22. I don't know if you want to continue today with this, or maybe we all do a little more research into what can be done, because I'd hate for you to buy this and then not be able to do what you want to do with it.
right.
I was going to say, I think the question for you both is if we approve this property purchase, do you guys intend to go to the other board and get a zoning variance? My assumption is that would be your intention. And then if you don't get that variance, you know, are you still okay with obviously owning the property? Because you'd still own it at that point, I think is the question. And if you need time to think about that, that's okay. We can certainly table this or whatever you prefer. But that's my question. So.
Well, see, there's two extremely large trees,
Mm-hmm.
and they just sold the house next to this.
Okay.
If somebody don't cut these down, they're going to be on this house There's no way that can be stopped.
Okay.
And if I buy this, I'm gonna be responsible for these trees
Yes, sir.
and these people's property if it falls.
Yes, sir.
See, nah, it's too much on me for just this piece of property.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that completely, and that's your prerogative. Either way, so I don't know what your preference is. It's kind of up to you. If you want to continue with
Yeah,
the
'cause
application,
I
you
don't
can.
know
If not, we can certainly.
Well, I don't know that we'd want to keep the property if we can't get the zoning for
Sure.
what we want to do with it,
Sure.
because it'd be useless really to us.
Yeah.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand completely. Absolutely.
They
Go
could,
ahead, Zane.
And if you can't get the zoning until you own the property, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all.
That's
just
too risky.
Throw it all
Yeah.
together at
Kind of
once.
challenge. Sure.
So, I mean, I would be willing to make some phone calls and look into this a little further with the
Well, that's the kiss of death.
variance board and
What I'm
talk to our
afraid of is
forester about the
somebody's
trees.
gonna buy the property and they're not gonna cut these trees down. And these are older people that just bought this house. And if this falls on them, it's gonna be a big problem between city and this property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need to send somebody out there to look at what I'm saying. It needs to be done now.
Where?
before
What was the
somebody
address
gets
of this
hurt.
property?
That's a fair no. And so, Jeff, maybe if you want to look into that, just have someone go out and look at the property, make sure it's okay. I know Zane had some comments. I'll go ahead and
2859. Let's go back
don't
here.
remember exactly. I feel like
Street. And we was wanting to purchase the property at 2800 South Franklin Street. Use of the property is to store some car trailers and
Do you mind?
That's fine.
Good morning. I
Morning.
think you guys heard some of my conversation before the meeting because I'm concerned with this. And this, I mean, this is
Look,
something
look,
that
look,
you
look,
would have
look,
to.
look, 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 look. Listen. I am by no stretch of the imagination anything worth looking at. I am a blob from beyond. But they need to put like a box up or blur the screen or just keep it long shots, because like she's like Cthulhu and scares too many people off. I feel like if they would set her if they truly want to not be transparent, they need to just set her in front of everything. She is such just a miserable creature to listen to look at, to hear, to think about. And I just the attitude that she puts off. She's not welcoming. I mean, she is in literally the worst position in government because of the amount of people that she just turns off just because of the sheer just the attitude. Now I'm looking at this property here. And I mean, so I guess it's safe to assume here's the property. So I guess it's these two trees that they're afraid are going to fall on maybe this house. I mean, they look like good trees. I don't know why they would just fall down. I mean, I guess anything is possible. I'm interested in where they live. Where do they live? Do they live here? Where? I mean, this is an interesting little deal. And so they've got trailers on this. What do they have on this? We're at 21st and Franklin. Oh. So here's what it looked like before. They've taken that house down. Interesting. Well, I don't know why that. I don't know why that would fall. I don't know what they're trying to do there. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what these people want. It's like they wanted the property, but then they were told they can't get it, and they don't want it if they got to cut the trees down, but they were going to get it to cut the trees down. So I don't really know what the like. This is the weirdest meeting because I kind of feel like everyone is speaking a language that I'm not exactly tuned into. I'll tell you what she looks like. Shireen Wegley looks like an AI creature. Looks like something that AI has created. Now, Karen is saying show the law, which I don't really know what she's talking about. Show what law? Relative to what? Like what law specifically? Are you wanting me to
decide going forward if you still want to continue this application? The
let's go back to where we
zoning for
were.
this property that you're wanting to purchase is residential. So
Just bought this house, and if this falls on them, it'll be a big problem between city and this property. I mean, you need to send somebody out there to look at what I'm saying. It needs to be done now before somebody gets hurt.
That's a fair no. And so, Jeff, maybe if you want to look into that, just have someone go out and look at the
Those
property.
trees look nice to me. I'm gonna drive by there tomorrow and see what the hell's going on. But
I don't remember exactly. I feel like
Stumblefoot.
something could maybe be worked out if there was
If I can get the property and I can get the zoning, I'll take care of that. I already got somebody that'll cut them down for me that's zoned and insured and the whole 9 yards. So I made sure of that. And then I got another friend of mine. You guys probably know him, John Johnson. He's got Johnson Construction.
J&W Construction.
J&W. My wife does his stuff for him. And he'll take care of any fencing or anything like that I want done. He said, just tell him I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Whenever we're ready.
Zane, go ahead. You continue.
I believe at least the Plan Commission would allow the application to occur under the MRC's name.
Okay.
I don't know. You'd have to work out like the fees involved with that.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure when I worked for the MRC, we did that for 225 South Madison, and I think Nate has done that with the land bank, and so that is also an option. I don't want to. We don't need to arbitrate that right now, but I think that's also an option. I would also note that there'll probably be some additional requirements beyond the zoning requirements. I think the slot's like grass, and so you'd also have to put down some sort of like hard material, gravel, pavement, concrete, whatever. And that it's not. I don't think that's a hearing process, but there'd probably be like a drainage permit or something along those lines. So I think if everyone can just like work those things out, this is kind of an awkward process to go through for one single lot, and we don't want to be owning it. It's just kind of in our name. So we appreciate you putting the application together and coming before us.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to suggest that we not take action on this.
I didn't
today,
get that
and
impression
that
from
we
anybody.
allow the Baileys to work with Miss Wagley and Mr. Howe on next steps, whatever that looks like, and we can just move forward from there. If that's okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's exactly right,
Mr. Freeman.
GW.
You should table it, and then you
Okay.
can bring it back off the table.
You should
at
never
the
tell
next
the
or any other
government
future
more
meeting.
than they
Sure. We can do
absolutely
that as
need
well.
to know.
Mr. Pravilla, before we do
I
that.
He needs to go see a doctor.
I'm not necessarily in favor of this anyway. I just want to put that on statement. You guys seem great, but if I have a vacant lot near my house and someone turns it into, just puts up a privacy fence and has trailers and cars and things there, I would not be happy with that.
Okay. Do you live on South Franklin Street?
No, do we need to take official action on tabling? I'd move that we table for
I'll
now.
second that as well. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Oh, sorry.
This
No, we're going.
I'm sorry, you said, Mr. Bishop said yes?
You said yes,
I
Mr.
say
Dale.
yes.
Okay. Yes from me, Mr.
I get where
Bishop.
he's coming
weird meeting.
from.
You guys
The government doesn't get to tell me
you
what I'm
guys
doing.
so
But
much.
Mike,
telling me that this was a good meeting.
Let's go ahead and move forward with Mr. Freeman's update when he's done typing.
Wait,
on these
what
state
you come up here
statutes.
for?
I just came up to say, I agree. I wouldn't want a, storage facility parked right next to my house, but you know what? I also don't want the government telling me what I'm allowed to do with my property. And it sounds like that's exactly what he would like to do, is dictate to everyone, well, that piece of property, you can do this, and that piece of property, you can do that. Screw you.
Yeah, this is a weird thing. Like, I don't even know. I don't know what these people are trying to do. I mean, maybe they're the Beverly Hillbillies and they're gonna junk it up. I don't know, man. But yeah, Tweety Bird, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you've been hit in the head or I've been hit in the head, but I'm agreeing with you again. This body just makes working with the government so damn confusing. And they are the most convoluted group of weirdos. Like, Andrew Dale is there and he's ready to produce justice for the American, and I like him. Steve Probella, he says a word. He says like one word every 35 meetings. I forget he's even a human being that has sentient thought, whatever. I mean, he might as well be a chair. Mr. Perfect there with the wonderful 5 o'clock shadow and the weirdness there. His, we all know his deal. Zane Bishop, I like Zane, but the more and more we go along, he's kind of weird. He never backs up Andrew Dale anymore. It's like he's trying to distance himself from Andrew Dale, even though they're on the same side, and he seems pained. Every time he talks, it sounds like it hurts him to actually force the words out. I don't know what's going on there. It'll be okay, buddy. Just get the words out. And then, of course, Cthulhu, I just can't deal anything with her. Wearing his cosplay Han Solo outfit.
Regarding the budget submission and changes to MRC matters.
Sure. So I was asked to give sort of a recent legislative update on changes applicable to the redevelopment commission. New changes. If you have questions about changes from prior years, we can discuss those as well. But I think there are 5 primary changes that are applicable to redevelopment commissions that took effect.
Glad to see he's paying such close attention to these
in
legislative
2024
updates.
were approved and will take effect in the future, if not 2024. I will go through them. Some of them are maybe a little bit more obscure than anything that we would deal with primarily, but effective in May of this year, there was an elimination of a requirement of school corporation approval. School corporations, their approval is no longer required in order to create a residential housing development program in an allocation area. Obviously, as is the update implies previously, if there were a school corporation in that area, you had to obtain their consent before you could move forward with that. That is no longer a requirement for those residential developments within an allocation area. There was also it previously applied to city redevelopment commissions, but there was some authority regarding economic development target areas, which were extended to counties. It's not really a change of powers for the MRC. It's more that the county redevelopment commission now shares some of the powers that previously only rested with the local redevelop or the city municipal redevelopment commission. There were some eliminations of what's called the 1% test, which is no longer required for the creation of residential housing development programs and allocation areas. The maximum term of residential housing development program allocation reduced to 20 years. The maximum term of a residential housing development program allocation area is a period of 20 years from the date of the incurrence of the obligation payable from the residential housing development program allocation area. So it was previously more than that. It's been reduced down to 20 years.
And in what, GW?
Some that are perhaps a little bit more germane to at least our history in this board or other boards in general. Excuse me, skip past it. As has been discussed, there is a change that is applies to the MRC for the requirement of an annual spending plan. So not later than December 1st of each year, beginning December 1st of this year, 2024, the redevelopment commission must prepare a spending plan for the for the following calendar year, meaning 2025, that describes planned expenditures. The commission must submit the plan to the mayor and the common council of the city. Or other.
That would be interesting to look and see. It's
the county board
statewide things.
County council, so on. So the redevelopment commission may not use any of its funds for any purpose other than those described in the annual spending plan. And that was a legislative change that was passed last year and became effective this year. And again, that plan is due December 1. There are requirements to present changes to the previous requirements to present April 15th annual report to the unit's fiscal body at a public meeting. The redevelopment commission will also be required to present or have a designee present the report to the unit's fiscal body, meaning the common council of the city of MUNCIE, at a public meeting. And those would have been done in the spring every year, that was previously the deadline anyway. An upcoming change that is not applicable yet, but will be, is beginning, assuming that the MRC continues to meet in this room, beginning July 1st of 2025, local government bodies, including redevelopment commissions that hold their regular meetings in the same place as the governing body of the related city, town, or county main unit, will be required to provide live transmissions of their meetings other than executive sessions. The new requirement will also include making archived copies of the transmission available on a publicly available platform for at least 90 days following the meeting. And then there are provisions for what you do if there's interruption of internet service or something like that, archiving and whatnot. But again, that one is not currently enforceable, but also not an issue since we've been doing that anyway. And I think that was the primary changes from 23 that are applicable this year or in the future.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Does anybody have any questions for him before we move on to the land bank?
So my question is, to meet the requirement of a December 1st date that council receives and approves the spending plan, and then we submit to the state, we've got a meeting coming up in November. We can always have a special meeting, but it's really getting this to council, which is most important. I'm trying to figure out the calendar, how to do that. And that's why I brought this up a couple months ago, was being prepared to do it effectively, because it's the commission's work to present this to the mayor and to present this to council. Given where we are in the calendar, it's very difficult to do that from a legal standpoint with council at this point, because council will meet, I presume, on December 2nd.
Yeah.
Because December 1st is a Sunday. So we need to work through how we're going to do that. And maybe you thought through that. But
I mean, I guess ideally, right, we would decide on this in the November meeting officially, and then present it, well, not present it to council, but pass it on to council by December 1, and then they would decide at their council meeting on December 2nd, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, Ben, does council need to approve any of this, or that we just have to present it to
It
them?
has to be submitted to them. I'm trying to pull the actual statute up. The notes that I have, the way they're written implies that it needs to be approved by you by December 1, not necessarily submitted, but I want to confirm that.
Any other questions or thoughts while he's looking that up?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I talked to Adam during the meeting here. That $33,000 invoice was for MLK, paving on MLK.
Okay.
Was the materials, I should say. The surface mix is what he said.
and that was approved by the commission.
By this commission.
Okay. Yeah, just back on the other topic. I think we talked last time about, we have a consultant who can help us with this. In speaking to another individual who does a lot of bond work in the state of Indiana, a very well-known individual, I think that there are municipalities that are finding ways to create plans that have flexibility. And we mentioned ready and all that, and I understand that completely. I think I don't think the state is saying that down to the penny, down to the project. I think we need to leave it pliable enough because this is the reality of these things. Projects do change, things happen. So I think we should be pretty confident going forward and articulating in general what we're going to do. But I wouldn't get to a level of specificity that is binding to the point where, you know, we can't get the work done next year that we need to do. So
Yeah,
striking that balance. And I think there's some folks out there, there's some of your colleagues out there that are probably in the midst of this that probably know where to strike that chord really well. So we can feel confident about that.
We're looking at buckets, so we'd allocate buckets, but what it does, I think it limits us to spend on those things, but it doesn't mean we have to spend. So, you know, we'll probably be looking at those things, you know, pretty aggressively, but then if projects don't happen, then those things will get curtailed.
Yeah.
But it really becomes an allocation of these dollars or so many dollars for whether it's housing or whether, you know, those kinds of things. But it'll be more in the line of buckets, and that's kind of what it's starting to look like right now.
Sure. I know that, for context sake, I teach a class at Ball State of
Oh my
so I get to
God.
bounce some of these ideas off of some of those individuals as well who are in other communities across Indiana. And they've said all the similar things to your point about that. You know, don't tie yourself down, working kind of a bucket system. I think we're on the right track. So hopefully November we can have the discussion. I'm sure it'll be a lengthy discussion. That's fine, and make a decision. So
Just one last thing, because on the reverse of that, and this is, I'm not looking to prod here, but you know, take the South Madison Street project. You know, we got $322,000 targeted or so for that project. I assume, at least my perspective, there's a good chance that won't happen. At some point, I assume we're going to get, if that is fact, that we're going to then reallocate those funds. So that will influence plans too. Sure. And that will influence, you know, plans mid-year. So I think we need to think holistically when we're thinking about that plan of where some of these projects are or aren't going. That's the one that comes to me, is that it doesn't appear to be anywhere. But so.
All right. Any other points of discussion before we move on to Mr.
Just as a quick update, I wanted to confirm, yes, so the plan has to be approved by the commission and submitted to the Department of Local Government and Finance and City Council not later than December 1st. And then, then there's some other language about submitting reports for redevelopment commissions that fail to submit those reports by February 1, but that won't apply to
That won't apply to us, right?
But there's no act. You're not interpreting that council has to say they've christened this plan.
That's correct. It just says it has to be submitted to them. There's no corresponding language for approval or anything.
Okay. Thank you.
There's nothing else. We'll move on to the land bank update from Mr. Howard. Back from St. Louis, right? Did I see that? Yeah.
Working hard.
That's good.
Nate Howard from the MUNCIE Land Bank. Good morning. Just a quick update. We have sold, upon approval from the board tomorrow, we sold property to a local owner who has plans. It's zoned for business and has plans to create a hot pepper farm. So we'll be rooting for him, helping him out along the way if he needs help. I guess the big news for us this month has been that the 40 properties that we were awarded back in April, those 38 of the 40 made it through the redemption process. And now we'll petition the court for the deed. That's could be another 60 days or so. And so hopefully we'll be acquiring those 38 properties. And again, you've heard me say many times, those are all tied to different partnerships around the city, big one in the Old West End, but also industry, Whiteley, and then with Pastone Corporation, their HARP program. And those are properties that we've been taking care of, even though we're not the legal owners. We've been cleared to be able to mow them and do our best to maintain them. So we've got a lot in it, and we're hoping that we can get a lot back. Presented on first Friday on the tax sale. It's kind of giving people kind of a very informative look at how you navigate the tax sale. What does it mean when you take on a property? What's the redemption process? What are the costs associated with that? And then also looking at, we've been trying to aggregate some data from the last 20 years or so about the tax sale, how successful it's been, how some of the challenges that we're seeing of repeat properties, and kind of especially one of the things that we've noticed is that we were awarded our full proposal grant from the Ball Brothers Foundation. They continue to be a huge supporter of us. We're very thankful. And we have a couple other grant proposals that we're hopeful about too. We presented at there was a civics symposium a couple weekends ago at Ball State. We got to share a little.
I thought that.
I think it's just kind of your normal lot size. Wow. I think, but it's right off of Madison, so it's zoned for business.
I know. Yeah. I mean, that sounds really cool.
Thank you.
Nate, I've got a question.
Yes.
It may be, the response may be long-winded, I don't know, but if in this state, we place more value on structures as opposed to the land value when it comes to taxation, correct? Am I right about that?
I don't know if there's a different rate. I think that's, I don't know,
Okay.
Andrew. I shouldn't try to.
I was going to pose the question of the value of flipping that and placing a lot more value on the land.
Mm-hmm.
I think development would be, it would keep people from out of town coming in and doing what they're doing because the value of the land is so much. And
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's
I'm sorry. I can.
That's
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
If you do that, then what you run into is people have a lot of land that all of a sudden can't generate enough revenue on their land. Happens with land.
Yeah.
Right.
They can't produce enough revenue.
Can't stand
Anybody
Jeff.
signed up for public comment today? We got somebody. Come on up, please.
All right, here's public comment.
2 minutes.
Fine, I'll hurry. Anthony Hanser, FC Tucker, and just happened to be here this morning and heard about someone looking for a boutique hotel. I have an excellent opportunity to MUNCIE Inn. That's 51 units. I think it'd be a great retrofit. I've worked the project for the last 6 months or longer, and we do have some interest in several opportunities, but I think it'd be a great opportunity for a boutique hotel. So if anyone's interested, give me a call. FYI, the Village Inn is under contract, and I have a 3-way liquor license that's available. The Village Inn is the only property that's on the south side of Jackson Street on the east side of the river, there by the new Cape Up development. So, and I'm not sure what their use is going to be, but I think it's going to be a restaurant. And speaking of properties that the city owns, controls, MRC is involved with, I'd really encourage Jeff or the mayor or anyone to contact. There's 5 or 6 commercial brokers in Muncie that would be happy to know about the opportunities that exist with properties that are not advertised or not listed on the market. But I think if we were aware of those kind of situations, we have clients that would also maybe entertain offers or at least would like to look at the property. So I guess with that, that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Cantor. Is there anybody else today?
Hey.
A small audience today. Okay. We'll move into commissioner comments. I'll open the floor if anybody has.
Remembering a question I had for updates. Jeff, I had asked you a question about the downtown sidewalk work that was, I guess, approved by the MRC, and then you provided a response, and I don't think I ever responded back. I apologize. I think it's stalled, but I'm also a little confused about like if it's just to move forward. Like we approved it as a board, but also like it's out of their normal allotment. So I didn't know if like they're supposed to move forward with the funds regardless of like their internal dealings or whatever since we approved it. Or
it's my understanding that that what has not been done is what will be involved in the state highway folks. So what downtown development told me is they've done the curbs, the ADA stuff that can be done now because you've got others that are going to be affected by the work that's being done on.
Wow, I'm so happy he's got a microphone in front of him.
Okay, so but they're moving forward.
Yeah,
okay,
they're moving forward.
Okay, awesome.
I think those ones that are going to be not sure how to say it, but the ones that are going to be affected by those, they're going to wait till that's done before they do it, or the state may end up doing it for them. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, great. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments today? Seeing none, we will go ahead and adjourn. Our next meeting is November 21st, 2024 in this room. Thank you so much.
Holy shit, folks. You fooled me. that was a train wreck. That was a disaster. I mean, it was like a fever dream. I don't understand what even remotely happened in there. That was crazy, absolutely insane, crazy. Kind of in some news that goes along with it. I do want to talk just briefly real quick before we get ready to roll out here. Hell, we've only been here for an hour and 47 minutes. I do want to cover something that happened. It's kind of a big shakeup in Muncie and Delaware County politics. Very, very interesting, rather. Today, let me get to this. One of our viewers here actually posted this, and it's interesting to me, and I've got different kinds of thoughts about this on both sides of this, so I will I'll read this and then I'll talk to you about my thoughts about this. So Charlie sent to me breaking news today in Muncie. Sit down, grab a drink. This is Charlize's words. A huge disservice was done in Muncie. I like to believe I have patience of Job. Of Job. Of Job. I like to believe that I have the patience of Job. Sure, I get hacked off like everyone else does, but I do try to give benefit of the doubt whenever possible. Sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes you have to let it rip and let the chips fall where they may. This is one of those times. For the past 25 years, Joanne McKinney has led the Horizon Convention Center and led by many through calm and rough waters. Like the time the former Hotel Roberts, Muncie's only downtown hotel, closed and Joanne and her team had to navigate what that would mean for the convention center. That was across the street. Or the time she had to cut the budget by $250,000 during the 2008-2010 Great Recession, and did so without sacrificing service to clients or by having to lay off staff. Or perhaps it was playing a central role in bringing the Courtyard by Marriott MUNCIE at the Horizon Convention Center to a reality between 2012 and 2015. Or perhaps when other convention centers were shuttering their doors during the global pandemic of 2020 and 2022, how Joanne kept her staff employed by obtaining grants and forgivable loans. So imagine, to the shocking surprise of many in our community, when the Delaware Advancement Corporation called a special public meeting, not a hearing, to vote to fire Joanne McKinney. Just like that, in under 10 minutes, the Delaware County Advancement Board, also known as DAC, voted to end an illustrious 25-year career. No reason was given. Perhaps that's because there is no valid reason to have done so. Again, these are Charlize's words, not mine. Actually, the reason is politics. More to the point, the appointed powers that be who run MUNCIE and Delaware County, to include those who already in elected office or anticipate taking office in January within the city and the county, don't like Jones politics. Here's the thing. Joanne never ran the convention center with politics at the center. Service was always the top priority list. Putting a good face on a downtown MUNCIE was her mission, along with ensuring visitors who left did so with a positive impression of our city. And yet it was total political BS that was her undoing. I first met Joanne at MUNCIE's downtown Rotary Club. First impressions were lasting ones. Kindness, a warm smile, and a get-it-done attitude are what I remember. These very traits are what she exhibited each day at work at our convention center. Speaking of Rotary, Rotarians or however you will say that, were presented today on the DAC board. The board who voted to fire Joanne. DAC board president Rob Kiesling, who I call Lex Luthor, that's my words, not hers, called the meeting to order at 4:15 p.m. and adjourned it some 10 minutes later without so much as a comment permitted from anyone. Even Joanne's 25 years didn't warrant her getting a word in edgewise. Dan Ridenauer dutifully voted to fire Joanne. Wow. Funny, he should be thanking her for the job she's done for MUNCIE over the years, but nope. Another person from the Rotary, Sherry Riggin, who sat directly in front of Charlene, voted to abstain. I know I'm not alone in thinking that the DAC board members who had the courage to stand up, stand against the behind-the-scenes powers that be wanted, who wanted Joan gone. The perimeter of the boardroom was packed with Joanne supporters. That should have sent a message to the board, but they had their marching orders and nothing was going to deter them. Gutless cowards, every single one who voted to fire Joanne McKinney. That's who you are. Rotary, a global service organization that does so much wonderful work throughout the world, has a four-way test at the very core of their organization. Those who voted to fire Joanne violated that very oath they profess at every Rotary meeting. Rotary four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? None of that was present today at Delaware Advancement Corporation board meeting. Shame on every person who did other people's dirty work. The smelly underbelly stench of local Republican politics was everywhere downtown today. And then she posted several pictures of Joanne McKinney. Now, let me say, it's interesting to me to look at this and see that everything that happened here All right. Fell absolutely down political lines. The Republicans are, involved with, saying thank you for your service, time to move on. The Democrats are decrying that this is complete bullshit and whatnot. My 2 cents on this is, oh boy. There was a time in my life that I would have taken a bullet for Mark McKinney, Joanne's husband. I worked in the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office under Mark, and Mark and I have had a long-standing, good, long personal friendship for a very long time. And I went to bat for him in some of the most trying times of that man's personal and political life. And I really, 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 really went to bat for him. Even when what I was going to bat for was a friend who, in the long term, was doing wrong, deserved everything that he got. And in 2011, 2012, when I was dealing with some personal nonsense myself and going through kind of a dark period in my life, did McKinney stick around and offer a hand of support? Or did he quickly turn his back on me and vilify me and basically, just go on down the road? That's exactly what he did. And so for a very long time, there have been very hard feelings between myself and Mark McKinney. Now, Mark is not Joanne. Joanne is not Mark. And I know it's the quote unquote sins of the father, but you don't also get the sins of the husband or the sins of the wife. Joanne's not responsible for my feelings about Mark. Mark's not responsible for my feelings about Joanne, or vice versa, whatever. And so I take it as it is. I will say personally this: I have zero professional relationship or understanding or any knowledge about Joanne McKinney whatsoever. I knew who she was. I know what she did. I know her in a personal setting, from a personal standpoint, and she was always lovely to me. Was wonderful, never a problem. Then Mark and I had a falling out, and then, she's obviously married to Mark, and it is what it is. We just never spoke. I have no ill will or harsh feelings towards Joanne. That being said, I have always thought that she was way, way, way overpaid. Way overpaid. And so, as Jackie put up here in the comments a little bit ago, I will say it's interesting that the writing was on the wall here. The Chamber and the Delaware County Advancement Board, next MUNCIE, all that stuff, they reorganized late last year, I believe, or earlier this year, late last year, I believe. And when that happened, I thought then that Joanne's days were numbered. This doesn't surprise me. I'm not shocked to find this out. I don't feel like this is, I mean, I'm honestly shocked that it took this long. I guess I'll say that. I feel like I'm more shocked that it took them this long to get here. So that, whoop. I got to get that. I can't hear myself. I don't like doing that. So, was it right? Was it wrong? I've long had issues with the Delaware County Advancement Board. I think it's a bureaucratic machine. It's very similar to being part of the the underbelly, the dark part of political bureaucratic machine. People who are not elected to make decisions that affect tax dollars and affect citizens. That's what Delaware County Advancement Board has been. Next Money, that whole thing. So I don't like any of it. Do they do some good things in Muncie? Yeah. Have they done some wildly underhanded things in Muncie? Oh, you bet your ass. Would I like to? I mean, I'd like to see the whole thing destroyed and blown up. Honestly, if I'm just being honest, all of that being said, I imagine that they have, they've got a thought about what's going to happen here. It'll be interesting to see who they put in place over this board, and will they do the work that Joanne did for the fact that she got paid way too much. I think she did probably an all right job. That you never really heard much out of what was going on. The McKinneys are wildly left-wing liberal Democrats. Hardcore. Okay. And so, this is going to be interesting to see how this happens, but the writing was on the wall. And so I don't think that this should have came as a shock to anybody. The state-ran media for the Muncie Journal published an article. We talked about this back in October of last year. The Greater Muncie Chamber of Commerce and Delaware County Advancement Corporation boards reorganize. And basically, they were going to be doing things that kind of really changed things up. The article says, today, the Delaware Advancement Corporation and the Greater Muncie Chamber of Commerce announced their intended joint reorganization. Since the 1980s, the DAC has been a 501c3 organization governed by a single board. DAC has two distinct business divisions. One, the Economic Development Alliance, the local economic development organization of Muncie and Delaware County, and then two, the Horizon Convention Center. Since opening in 1988, the Horizon Convention Center has grown to include an attached hotel and parking garage. The convention center hosts hundreds of local and regional events every year and has continued to foster growth. Muncie and Delaware County's economic development focus continues to evolve, encompassing business attractions and expansions, diversification and local economy, talent attraction, education, and quality of life initiatives. The Greater Muncie Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit membership-driven organization. It unites a business, government, education, philanthropy, healthcare, and services, creating a central agency which lends itself to improving business and building better community. Its strength lies in attracting the greatest numbers of individuals and firms into its membership, thereby creating a pool of resources from which each can be drawn and different energies be given, ideas, and funding. The proposal in this redrawing of these two bodies was that both boards will move the Economic Development Alliance under the oversight of the Chamber of Commerce to allow for a streamlined governance, additional accountability, and greater synergy and effective efficiency. Delaware
They
economic
were doing
development.
over there what they did over here, creating
Yes.
Randolph County United.
Yes, that is exactly what they were
Which to
doing.
me is too much entanglement.
Yeah, it is. And let me ask you, because that happened as I was leaving Randolph County. I see them post things and do stuff, and they do. I mean, are they doing anything crazy? Are they doing anything great?
No.
Spending
They
money.
don't do anything. Yeah, spend money.
Yeah, I mean, they still get government financing. I mean, they still get grants
Yeah.
for it. And then they're also getting revenue from every business
That's a member.
that's a member. And what was the cheapest you could get in for? Do you remember?
500.
I think it was $500 a year was the cheapest level per business.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
And I was off screen. I see that you put her salary in at 126,880. That's a lot of money in Delaware County for what she was doing. That's a lot of money for what she was doing.
it's a lot of money for a nonprofit.
It's a lot of money for yeah.
Is that I'm not sure I like the idea of trying to streamline this stuff. There's just, you've got businesses involved with the economic development, involved with tourism, and it just seems like it's a way to easier pick and choose winners and losers.
Sure.
Fraud, waste, and abuse.
Fraud, waste, and abuse with tax dollars. It's mingling the private and the public too much. That's
Yeah.
my opinion on it. Is that they haven't done anything crazy over here, but I don't see what amazing goodness has come out of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Now, no, I absolutely agree with what you're saying there, and with everything that I said about, I'm going to look into this because I'm going to tell you, I don't know. As I sit here tonight, I don't know where I fall on this. McKinney and I, who were good friends, then enemies, now strangers. I don't know. I don't know what I would think. And he in a lot of his thinking is way liberal, and we disagree on lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff. I will tell you, he made a statement posted on social media 2 hours ago that says, "So tonight, in a cowardly but typical act of Republican politics, the Republican appointees of the Delaware Advancement Corp voted to terminate my wife's employment. 25 years of exemplary service, 25 years of impeccable leadership, 25 years without a negative review and pay raises." I mean, she's making good money there, Mark. 25 years of community leadership, philanthropy, and service above self, and the cowards terminated her. Why? Because she dared challenge the Republican establishment. Because she dared point out the conflict of interest and the malfeasance of Elizabeth Roway. Now, understand, I'm not a big Roway fan myself, so interest is piqued. Because she dared to do the right thing every time. The mayor, who I questioned, Joe Barr, Jeff Parsons from First Merchants Bank, Rob Kiesling from AEP, Jennifer Gibson from Northwest Bank, and Jennifer Gasterick from Ivy Tech, all cowards. Joanne McKinney, you're the best. Your entire staff showed up in support. Your friends and family showed up in support. We love you forever and always. Now, I will tell you, this is interesting. Because while Mark and I have apparently had some issue that he has contrived in his mind and created, I've got no problem in saying if I think that he's right. And I think that there's a little bit to his statement here. And I am the first person who will say, I don't care. I don't care if a good statement is coming from a Republican or a Democrat or a toad. It's a good statement. It's a good thought. It's something to be considered. And I have no problem. I'd say it to Mark and Joanne's face. I think she was being paid too much. But I don't know that I think that she deserved to necessarily be fired. And, it'll be interesting. I will be looking into this because I'm interested in what she has said here about Rowway. And I'm interested in what her thoughts are there. So I'm going to be looking into that. I think it'll be interesting. I think it will be interesting to see what happens here. So that's just a little thought. Now I do want to throw out here again, and this is very important. I hope I'm able to now post pictures. I should be able to post this later. Some breaking news for Delaware County is this. I talked about this last night. The Delaware County Republican Party was scheduled for a Lincoln Day dinner tomorrow, Saturday, October 19th, 2024, Knights of Columbus. 5:30 was the VIP reception. 7 p.m. was the dinner and main event start time. And as of 4 a.m. this morning, this event was still posted on their website. Well, I tagged Ed and Jessica in a post that I made, and I think that they have since removed it. Okay, they have. They have now said the Lincoln Day event will be rescheduled for spring of 2005. Check back for details soon. So that means number one, it's very important to understand that this is interesting. First and foremost, their keynote speaker was going to be the Indiana State Treasurer. The Indiana State Treasurer, Daniel Elliott. Now, I know Mr. Elliott. I've spoke to him multiple times. I've sat next to him at multiple Lincoln Day dinners. We've conversed, and he is a lovely man. He's an okay person, wonderful individual. But he is a right snooze fest. He is boring. And the only thing more boring than Mr. Elliott is his job. And the fact that the Delaware County Republican Party couldn't swing during an election season, a Todd Young or Mike Braun or Beckwith, if you're into those kind of things, it's kind of insane to me. So number one, I think that's an issue they had. Number two, what I said about this in my posting, in my opinion, is real damning, and people need to be looking at this, because I am telling you folks, Ed and Jessica are killing the Republican Party, and I'm here for it. I want them to kill it all the way out. I made in my post a statement. Let me read you this statement here about this closure. What I said here, and I'm going to tell you where I was wrong. And I guess now that my blood is pumping and I'm awake, I know where I was wrong this morning. At 4:00 this morning, I kind of said the wrong thing. So I said, well, Facebook has me blocked from posting pictures until 6:01 p.m. today, Friday, October 18th, which is completely ignorant, mainly because they haven't told me why. Anyway, I discovered the block while attempting to post about the Delaware County Republican Party's Lincoln Day dinner advert, which has been posted on their website for a while now. In fact, as of 3 a.m. this morning, Friday, October 18th, 2024, it is still posted on their website with a tab for interested people to RSVP. Go check it out for yourself. If you do, post a yes or no in the comments, and along with a date and timestamp that you looked. Here's the website. But why does this matter? Because the Lincoln Day dinner scheduled for Saturday, October 19th, which is tomorrow, by the way, with the VIP reception starting at 5:30 and the dinner and main event starting at 7, has been canceled. And while there are a couple of reasons being given for the cancellation, the main reason that is floating around the local political circles is low interest and low expected attendance. Ouch. But to make matters worse, I'm hearing that once the powers that be decided to call it off, which is a bad look. I don't know that we've ever not had a Lincoln Day dinner. I don't even think we canceled Lincoln Day dinner during COVID. I think they had one during COVID. I'll have to go back and look at that, or maybe they postponed it. But for them to totally avoid a Lincoln Day dinner during a presidential campaign because they didn't have enough interest, that is very telling. That's very, very telling. But the powers that be decided to call it off, and then, just kind of didn't tell anybody. They left up the post on their wall. Now, I'm the one, ladies and gentlemen, I added this canceled bar. That's my artwork. Until 4:00 this morning, this advert popped up on their main website on the front page without that canceled bar. I put that canceled thing on there, that stamp. They did not. So until 4:00 this morning, they were still advertising for an event that has been canceled for at least 3 or 4 days now. And they weren't notifying people? Or were they? I'm sure that some people won't have seen my post and they won't have been contacted, so they'll still be living life. Maybe even as of right now. There are maybe still people out there who think that this event is still on for tomorrow. While only a handful of closest hangers-on were notified, that's ridiculous. However, don't forget the biggest group of people out here that simply do not give a damn about this one way or another. And that is telling.
Well, they put it up 3 hours ago on the Facebook.
3 hours ago, they put up that it was canceled. That's interesting. Okay. So 3 hours a day, they've officially 3 hours ago, which was what time? 10, 9, 8, 7. So less than 24 hours, they notified people via social media with less than 24 hours to go. That, my friends, is insane. Okay. That's truly crazy. But again, you know, the larger group of people just don't care. What's interesting is hearing that what made a difference in whether or not a person got notified about the cancellation or not was whether the person was a city or a county Republican. Did you catch what I just said? What made a difference if you were concerned about this and you knew about this and you paid for this and you were going to this? What made a difference in whether or not you were notified was if you were a city Republican or a county Republican. County Republicans were notified and were told, hey, it's been postponed, da 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 da. City officials, city elected officials, current elected officials, the mayor of MUNCIE was not notified. Still thought this was going on. Why would they not notify the mayor of MUNCIE? That's nuts. That's very telling. There is such a major problem when whatever bizarre reason is dividing up this Republican Party. They're so dead set on trying to rejuvenate and build the Republican Party. They are strangling it. And earlier I posted, once again, this proves that I know what I'm talking about when I say, please, someone out there stop Delaware County Republican Party Chair Ed Carroll and Vice Chair Jessica Piper before they completely destroy the Delaware County Republican Party once and for all. Because believe it or not, they are doing it. And this is just one more example of that. Now, I change my sentiment. My sentiment now is, please, Ed and Jessica, hurry and kill the thing as quickly as you can. Stomp it out, burn it with fire, so that something better can rise from the ashes, so that we can make a better thing out of this. That's what we need, because they are single-handedly destroying this, and it's ridiculous. So if you were excited to go to this event tomorrow, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know who would be decided to go, but it's been canceled. That's that. In the very last bit of news that I want to say, there is a MUNCIE City Council meeting, a special meeting scheduled for next week. That meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 23rd, special budget meeting. The agenda has been set. An ordinance for appropriations and tax rates for the year 2025 will be considered. This is the budget. And we did not go through the finance committee meeting from Wednesday. It's up on the website. It's up on our channel. You can go and you can watch. You can go and you can watch it. It lasted all of about 20 minutes. Basically, Nora announced that there were some cuts made, by both the police and fire departments. They personally made the cuts so the council wouldn't. There are still some issues here, and Nora is, I think, planning on passing the budget as it has been presented. As is, no questions. There you go. So it'll be interesting. She was still talking about it being close and there being some concerning things. Time will tell. We will definitely live stream the budget meeting. When they vote that night, we will definitely talk about it. We'll cover it. And we will go from there. So I'm going to be working on all of this stuff that we've talked about. I'm still in the process of getting information on the Westdell thing. And we're in the process of looking what's going on now that we've got the state government governor politics kind of on hold for a minute. I am going to be looking at least presenting for 30 minutes a night some national stuff from here on out, because it's time. We have to do it. We have to do it. And I will let some local or state stuff go to the side, because we have to do it at least a couple nights a week, if not more, because we've got, when we come back Sunday, we'll have 16 days left. So most people are decided, but there are going to be some big things. And I think that this is going to be a rocky next 15, 16, 17 days. So hold on to your asses. We will be here. We will be back Sunday night, and we will have another week of great programs for you. This has been a crazy week. I am going to be working tonight and tomorrow on putting out some shorts. I am going to be putting out shorts of the Beckwith interview, where he's talking about JD being the same as a D-Day soldier, and where he confessed to working on the JD stuff and a couple other things. Please, please, please watch those shorts, share those shorts, spread the word. Let's get this message out. And so help us out with those, because shorts are great ways to drive people back to the audience. If you can, feed the algorithm beast, because he is hungry tonight. And since we were here, we need to hit that like button. That would be great if you can help us out. That is all we ask for you. Please subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And we will see you back here at 9 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. That's Sunday, October 20th. You guys have a great weekend. God bless each and every one of you. And we will talk to you on the flip side.